All right, so one of the things I run into a lot when I run webinars is you can often end up relying on the webinar video alone to actually create your post-webinar assets. And I want to show you a method I've found for prepping some post-webinar assets prior to actually doing the webinar and having that video download, because a lot of times what happens is it takes a while for the video to actually download from Zoom, and then maybe you want to upload it and do some editing, and then you need to download it again and then upload it to YouTube. All that takes time. So instead of waiting for that to be done before creating your assets, I found a way to get around that a little bit using some of the assets that should be created prior to the webinar, like the webinar deck. So let's start with the webinar deck. What I did was I had Raphael send me his deck for the webinar he was going to do, and I was able to upload it to HubSpot and give it a URL. So what you can do once you have that uploaded is go over to Chat GPT. With a Chat GPT plugin like summarizeanything.ai, you can feed it a link and then ask it to summarize it. So I now fed it this link to Raphael's deck, and I was able to get this great little summary going here. Then you can manipulate the text however you want to. In this case, I wanted to start writing our email, our thank you for coming email. So I said, can you rewrite those bullet points smaller? It spits out great stuff like that, until I came away with a little recap, which you'll see here in our thank you for coming email that I dropped in here for the post-webinar thank you email. So the next thing I wanted to do is get prepared ahead of time with a blog post. So from that PDF, can you write a blog post? ChatGPT spits some things out. So now I had a base to start with to start creating the blog post to send around based off of Raphael's webinar. So by now your video is probably ready to roll. So one thing I go into Chat GPT for is I say, what are the best practices? I like to set context, right? Make sure that we're on the same page in terms of what the goal is that we're trying to get to. So what are your best practices for writing an engaging YouTube video and title? Let's say I read through that, feel good about it. And then I say, can you write a YouTube title and description for the PDF content you summarized above? Now, wouldn't it be more accurate to use the transcript? The answer is yes, but when you go to use something as long as a 45-minute webinar transcript, let me show you what ChatGPT does. So can you summarize this webinar transcript? Copy that in there, go to the bottom and see that it spits out, message you submitted was too long. So instead of using the transcript, I shortcut that by saying, just use the PDF and can you summarize it? Goes through, does a good little description, all based on the context we set, and gives us the timestamps here so we can do the chapters in YouTube. You'll just have to go back and update these timestamps so they're correct, and I'll show you a shortcut on that as well. So you'll see, we have homepage, we have category page, and the timestamp. So what we do is we can pull up our transcript and we can do a search in here for homepage, find out what that actually is. So let's see, let's start with tactics to improve the performance of your homepage. That's great. So we're looking at 3 minutes there. So we'll go back over to our YouTube video and we will see that we updated the homepage tactics chapter to 310 so that we have these really nice chapters that people can flip through if they are interested in only specific parts of this video. So once you have everything loaded into your system, you have some really nice assets to send out to the folks who joined, maybe the folks who couldn't make it, and also great assets to promote to folks who did not know about the webinar at all. And then your thank you email can include everything from the actual recording, the deck. You'll have your PDF to go off of as an asset. You'll have your blog post to go off of as an asset. You can then, insert the YouTube video, insert the presentation deck into this blog post. And of course, you'll have the visibility over here on YouTube with your chapters as well.